quorum is present. All present, non-attended.
Meeting called to order at 6:02, sir.
Remember when the other side had this majority, they did use the purpose in that show? I'll call it a day.
We're gonna do the pledge. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And I guess we'll go to prayer. Father God, thank you for letting us join tonight. Thanks for getting us all together. Father, we ask that you be with our friend Jesse and get him well. Just be with him. Father, we just ask you just lead us and guide us and direct us to make the best decisions for our city. In your name we pray. Amen.
What is wrong with Jesse? I tried to read.
Are we on YouTube?
Mm-hmm.
All right. No citizen communication. No boards, commissions, no consent agenda. No public hearings. Moving right into the regular agenda. Item number 1, discuss, review, take any necessary. This would be food trailer park. So you see in your packets here, we've got some information provided from the.
I can throw it up on the.
Go ahead, Jokes. This is basically we're looking for to put up together an ordinance. We've got a developer want to put in a food trailer park
Right behind.
across.
Perfect.
All right, perfect. All right. I believe the are those blue boxes.
So the front of this parcel here is right here. This is the front of the lots. There's that retail building, the multifamily component, the 2 little cottages there. I guess there's an old fence that used to be there along this line here. And the property owner, every single purple rectangle you see is a proposed food trailer spot. And every red circle, I believe, is a utility stub for water and electric. So that's where they would stub into. Currently, without getting too sidetracked, the food trailer permit is just one component of this whole property here that we'll have to discuss in order to make the vision a reality. So all we'll discuss tonight for the first component is the food trailer part. And let's see here. When it comes to a food trailer park, you still want to maintain some level of regulation. One, making sure that if they were to, no matter what food truck is in there, do they have the proper certifications, food handling, any other inspections that are needed from fire marshal, so forth. And also when they connect to each of these stub outs, is there a grease trap either within the park prior to entering the city wastewater system on the exterior. So all of these things need to be monitored, regulated, and assured. And what you'll see in the packet, and I can just pull it up here, is the city of Round Rock. They have a mobile food establishment short and long-term permit. And it asks for all kinds of information. Property owner, applicant, the 2 different types are a short-term permit. It's got the requested dates for short-term. There's allowed certain types. On the long-term, it references an ordinance, but basically it's for a year period of time, from what I understand. It comes with a fee, and then of course the allowable site types. And it requires the applicant to submit a site diagram and several other layers of verification. And so conceptually, you would obviously take this, R&D it, rip off and duplicate it, fit it to the city of Bartlett's needs, bring it back to you guys and say, what are your thoughts? What are some things that need to be potentially adopted? So, and it's in its current form, in this current conversation, when the conversation of food trailer parks come to mind, what are some things that you guys want to see included in a document like this? What sort of levels of regulation, control, or assurances, I guess, is a way to put it, would you want to see on a food trailer park?
One, will they have to have a public entity?
That's a good question. I know for a restaurant, if you're serving food, that's correct. And let me grab a
You
pen.
could probably do it with porta cans on it too.
Well, that retail building there would be a good, I believe there's a restroom in there because there was a a tenant that used to be in there. So I imagine that would be.
When we had our food trailer, if you did not offer them a place to sit down, you didn't have to have a restroom.
So the other thing too is that they're not always gonna be the same food trucks there, because that could rotate from multiple food trucks from time to time.
Effect.
Right.
So if you give so right now, you can have food trucks in Berkeley, but they have to come into City Hall and they have to go through permitting and they have to fit like 6 different criteria
Individually.
individually. So for like each individual food truck. And those are, right now, we've only got a 1 month peddler's permit,
I believe so.
I believe, it's $25 a month. So it's what this developer is asking, the property owner is asking, if they put in this food truck park, they're asking for a year's permit to cover, 1 fee to this, the rules in place, and they are allowed to pull in and pull out as many trailers as they need to throughout the year underneath that 1 permit fee, and only have up to 8 on site at one time.
But wouldn't a new trailer still have to undergo
They
that?
still have to provide all the same information before they
Okay.
can open for business.
Okay.
And that would that information would have to be Dropboxed over to the city and kept on file.
Okay, so-
Basically, we're just trying to eliminate, because you know how food trucks are. But that one stays for 3 months, we have one that stays a week and weeks.
Yeah, we don't matter.
So do we want to have to come in and burden our permit clerk every single time? Or do we want that burden to be on the property owner and then they have to provide to the city? And then, and we have code compliance, and he can kind of monitor this stuff,
In that exact process and scenario, I guess maybe a concept would be the property owner comes to City Hall, they fill out this application for the long-term component, which is up to a year. They pay up there that has $150 fee. Okay, they pay that. They're issued an MFE permit with a certain number or language on it. And then each food truck that comes in, it's the responsibility of the property owner to collect those documents, submit it to the city does its review, and then we will issue what you could see as a sub-permit. So any food truck that is within that park at any time needs to display that sub-permit, on the front somewhere, so that way if RASMO were to go by, or a city employee were to go by, or a council member were to go verify, it's right there with a valid date.
Maybe we do it as a like a PO system. Like if for us who work in the construction industry, where a company issues you a PO. So like the first 2 numbers would be LY, letters, lumberyard, food truck park, and then dash, and then they won't get the final 3 numbers or 4 numbers until that goes through City Hall through permit, and then she issues 001, 002, and then that way she's got 001 folder, 002 folder, and then RASMO, if he drives by and he sees the permit displayed up there, and if it doesn't have the last 3 numbers or invalid last 3 numbers, then he fit criteria. Let's see.
Why don't we think about putting it back on the property owner? Say we give her an annual permit and we give her a 3-month supply of permits. She's responsible for making sure they have it, and she's responsible for reporting back to the city with the documentation that proves that she has followed the protocol. That way we're not tying up people doing that.
Basically, this is kind of what this is, we're giving her a stack of
Yes.
Of blank permits, wait for those. So LY stands for this customer. Now, if another one opens up somewhere else, we put the initials of their food truck park. If it's
Yeah.
95 Highway 95 food truck park or whatever, put Highway 95 dash. She gets the blank, but she doesn't get those last 3 numbers because it's very important. I mean, it's very important that these people are approved by city prior to them just opening. Somebody issue a permit, they don't have the proper paperwork, the city doesn't have that on file, and the health inspector comes in, or a citizen comes in, or, believe me, we don't want to get into that mess. We're letting them open up over there,
Or
and
go
they ain't got the
offhand
right,
and
blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
We want to make, I think we still need checks and balances in place, as a city.
I agree.
We still need checks and boxes, and we need to have that stuff on file here. Because I guarantee you, open records request. We don't want to have to go and chase down that. If somebody's in here and they say it's a food truck, or say they pull in one night and then they pull off. We have no information on whatsoever. Somebody gets sick or whatever. Yeah.
There
We
needs to
have
be a
no
permit posted.
Mhm. And that begs another question. Let's say in month 1, Willie's Tacos pulls in and they're there for a month and they had their permit, and then they leave and then they don't come back for another 6 months. They're going to come and say, well, I already got my permit earlier in the year. Do I need to get another one?
I think
How
that
do
would be between an annual permit to
the property owner?
the property owner. That's between property owner and Willie's Tacos, in my opinion.
Personally, I wouldn't do that.
The only concern I would have with that is any new food trailer that comes in and out of that is to make sure that they're properly hooked up to city utilities. That would be my only really concern with exchanges of in and out. You don't want grease to start plugging up our system and messing up all of our pumps.
I think code compliance makes, just random visits. Code compliance makes random visits, and even our utility guy, director, whoever, they can.
Well, we could ask her that, since she's gonna put outlets in each of those places to connect to, why don't we just have her put in one central grease trap, and that takes care of all of that.
Yeah, because so this side over here that fronts Front Street, those are all sub-metered already. There's RV hookups there, which means you have a 30-amp plug, a 50 or 16 10-volt plug, and there's also the water connection at each side, and there's already sewer, gray water connection at each side. Now that all comes downstream towards
Over here.
over that way, I believe, and then that ties into one tap to the city. And then same thing on this back section back here. I think it goes on the side of the fence line by the utility building alley, and same thing. Ray had this set up. Everything was already sub-metered. There's like 2 master meters in the whole and drainage. So the city's only getting. The city's not getting. The city's only billing the property owner for those 2 meters, not each individual. So she's sub-metering that to the direct.
But the sub-meters are tied into the main meter.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so on electric, it's simple. But like in water, yes, where the main tap goes, for the very last tap, where it goes before it goes to the city tap, that's where you need the grease trap.
Yeah. I agree.
In front of both taps.
Yeah. That way, I'm not sure what the rules are for a food truck what's required to have a legitimate.
And is there a fine you can levy on somebody for if you catch them dumping illegally into the city sewer or grease?
I would think so, yeah.
Like if they're like,
I would imagine.
the trap's not working.
Dumping legally.
There should be on the application, information.
And maybe, even though she's paying for a year long, maybe that permit's only good for 30 days, and every 30 days, they've just gotta come in and get a new paper with the current date on it or something. Or something to that effect.
Would they, you could do that, or would we, because it seems like the main focus would be the one of them would be the grease trap. Do they need to have some paper or something on it that says it was inspected or checked at least once a month? That says, yeah, the grease trap is clear, or needs
Yeah,
to
I
be
think
cleaned?
something about a
Minimum
grease trap.
annually, but
Yeah, I think there needs to be
Annually,
something in there about
typically.
grease trap.
Now, an engineer will have to tell her how big that grease trap needs to be to accommodate basically 8 kitchens.
yes, because this is maybe backflow preventers in the water and all that.
That's a lot of this.
Now, your backflow preventers, if they're just tying into a hose bib, could be just an atmospheric vacuum breaker on a hose bib.
Can it
That's
come
pretty
into
simple.
the main meter?
Do what?
The backflow, should it come in from the main meter?
Well, you could, but I don't know that would be necessary, really. I think,
They're just
Can you
getting
just do
hot,
the
they're
little-
just getting cold water.
Yeah,
yeah,
can you just do the little,
yeah, the one that screws on your hose
yeah,
bib.
it screws on the hose, yeah.
It's like an $8 part.
Yeah,
But-
6, 8 bucks.
You just gotta make sure that it's on there.
Yeah, we did have to make sure it's on there. Keep standards anyway.
We can put some language in this agreement here that says if they're caught basically without a backflow preventer and without a properly monitored, maintained grease trap, you can either be hit with a fine or if the permit will be revoked or what have you, as an enforcement measure to make sure that they're actually.
Yeah,
I think when she
that's,
pulls
yeah.
a permit for the plumbing piece of that would be part of the inspection.
I think we're trying to
In-house
amen, but we're trying to simplify the whole permitting process because they don't have to each individually
Yeah,
come into City Hall, you know, in Burton or but they run, like Jennifer would have a property manager or whoever that's managing this property. And they are the ones responsible for putting together all that information and sending it over to City Hall. But they can't get that last few digits of that permit. That permit is invalid. If they're hanging up, you know, one of these in the window and it just says LY dash, you know,
Then we know it's.
then it, you know, it's not, but if there's like the final number, and then, okay, so, yeah, that's easy to fudge. You know, it was 1, that was 2, that was 3, okay, so the next one's gonna be 4, I'm just gonna write down 4 and not turn in the information to the city. Well, guess what?
She doesn't have a 4 or 5 folder.
Yeah, when a Mo or, you know, or whoever sees another trailer over there and they know that, you know, they can just call, hey, can I get the information on trailer 4 from Rose, or come in and check with Rose about trailer 004, whatever.
and it could be dated and everything right there. It's pretty simple.
Do we have a seal?
We have a city seal, yeah. But that's what I'm saying is like, she can send that,
Seal, yeah.
they can send the information to Rose by email. They can send all, you know, the food handlers permit, the sewer health inspection permit, you know, all the 4 or 5 documents that are required, the tax ID, blah, 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 all that stuff. They can send that to Rose by email. And then once she checks this box, checks this box, checks this box, she can, okay, assign a number to it.
Yep.
And return, you know, reply all, you know, and put the number on it and send it back to them by email, and they can just put it on there in Sharpie.
Yeah.
You know, she's got a stack of LY-Z blanks, and then those are only good for that, you know, that location.
Yeah.
It's like
Put
if you
the
see one
grease-
pop up downtown that's got a LY dash whatever on it,
Yeah.
it ain't no good. You know, that's where that's come to the city and get another.
Or you can go by address even. But I think we'd put it back on the owner to make sure the backflow prevention was in place and the grease trap was in place, because even a food truck, who knows the last time a little 30-gallon grease trap was serviced? So I would think we have it, she needs to get an engineer to handle 8 trucks, and that's what she needs to install. I think, that's how I see it.
And I think when we go through the CO process of setting this whole facility up, you know, that's probably one thing the ATS is going to ask for today. Grease trap, properly installed by last month. They're going to want to see the backflow preventer, but those backflow preventers, they screw on, screw off. You know.
Well, they have a break-off screw on them where you can't screw them off technically.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we just got to make sure that they don't interfere with the food truck. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So each food truck has a backflow for that?
Yeah, some cities probably require that,
Each of them?
but if you're doing, to me, if an atmospheric vacuum breaker is actually more dependable than even the ones you have to test regularly. So all as far as that if you have a water leak, which we very seldom have around here, and we have a reduction in pressure, it's not going to back siphon stuff out of that truck.
Yeah. It's just a little thing you screw on your
Yeah, can you break the little screw
Yeah.
off like a set screw and it breaks off? And then,
The only things I've installed was irrigation.
Yeah.
They usually just to
Okay.
be.
Yeah, I'm good with this.
We need to tweak it to, this is, we can rip off Ducate, we need to make it fit part, but this is a copy of the one from Round Rock. It's in packets.
So I see on here the verification of other permits and inspections, like, so the fire department would inspect too?
And it's a commercial, property of the fire marshal
Okay.
before CO's issued.
yeah, I don't think he'd be there every time we took a food truck unless he just drops in and do a random inspection.
Right, right.
The one last consideration that we'll have when we do this revision process is if that grease trap is not properly maintained by the property owner, and they start getting backup issues, that's on them. And that's another reason why we'd want them to sign it saying, yep, it's been installed and will be properly maintained.
Okay. Yeah.
But outside of that, just because this is really one of the first steps in getting, the technical term would be a mixed use redevelopment. That's what this is. And it has the potential to be a really big attraction for us here in town. You're talking multifamily, so affordable housing. I'm not sure what she'll do with the back 2 cottages there. Maybe Airbnbs or single family homes, who knows. From what I understand, she intends to use that front retail building as a mercantile or a restroom facility, something to that effect. And then, of course, they'll have the food trailers hooked up. And I'm assuming she'll have some picnic tables or some seating options available too. So it really has a chance to be a magnet, a hub of activity there on the long term. So,
I think it's a good thing,
which
huh?
one?
On the right-hand side, is you looking at it on the right side?
Oh, that there, I think, that long building, I think she intends to do 9 living units. When it's all said and done, 9 dwelling units in there. So that for sure will have to go through the fire marshal process. It is a commercial development. And so it'll go through ATS approval, plan review, the whole 9. So it'll definitely be.
So it sounds like we're pretty good with all of this, with the exception she needs to provide a grease trap.
Okay. Mhm.
Backflow prevention, and the paperwork and the permit process. And then what about the fees and things like that? Is that something we're going to kind of stay with Round Rock with?
Well, one thought that did come up is if we're going to request the property owner to have engineered approval to get the specs for a grease trap, that's an incurred cost. So would we work with them on a fee for the permit itself if they're going to do that?
I wouldn't think so.
No.
I think that's just part of the deal.
Perfect.
What's
Then-
that?
If they want the business, then they should probably pay for whatever they need.
And it's only $150 a year.
Well, that's what,
do we?
right now we're doing $25 for a peddler's permit per month.
Yeah.
For one full month, $25.
Per entity.
Like if a food truck came into town right now and they wanted to set up somewhere in town, it's $25 for a permit per month. And so 8 of them, that's $200.
Yeah.
I mean, so do you want it to be $150,
I mean,
or do you want it
discussion?
to be $250 or, or 400. I mean,
Is there an initial thought on a fee that I can incorporate in the draft?
Because if we had 8 trucks come in, you're gonna be up to $200 anyway.
In case there is a fire.
For 8 trucks to come in, you're gonna be $200.
Now, when we're down here. As far as the cooking stuff, make sure they have a safety way to get out of the fire department or something.
And with grease fires, you can't do water.
Fire extinguishers.
I think they're supposed to- they may
But
even
that's
have
something the fire marshal would,
part of the
Every
fire.
one I've seen, they've had one on each end.
I'll also have either myself or Rose will reach out to the city of Round Rock and see what else is entailed with their MFE permit, and to answer that question as well. Fire extinguishers needed. What do they do in the event of such events?
Because I know a food truck has to go through a certain amount of state regulation as far as fire and health and all that good stuff.
county.
So hopefully they've got what they need. We do have fire hydrants over there, right? Close by.
There's one right on the corner. Is that one active?
Need Tesla's fire. So we got grease traps, backflow preventers, fees. What else? Fire safety.
Mm-hmm.
Those are things that we want to incorporate into ours.
So I guess I can develop a metric for developing a fee. It sounds like a per spot fee. Basically, you're paying a fee for the per spot for the year. And right now, if it's $25 for one truck for 1 month, maybe we can figure an equation for that.
All of a sudden, somebody might come in on Saturday night, sneak in on everybody.
Because here's the thing. This is what we're gonna charge the developer
This
Yeah.
150
to be on
right
the
here.
spot.
Do what?
This 150 they have here.
Yeah.
That's for one trailer for the entire for the
Oh,
year.
okay. See, that makes more sense.
And see, this
Yeah.
$25 above is short term. That's
Yeah.
$25 per trailer.
And then with you, she's gonna be charging them for a
Yeah,
spot, I would
for a
bet.
spot. Mhm.
So would you do 150 per spot for the year? So that would be
$800.
That'd be 1,200.
$1,200.
Definitely.
That's cheap enough.
For a food trailer spot is what they're paying now.
Scott Murray told me he charges $75 a day, and then if they wanted water and gray water or whatever, then it was I think 125 a day or something.
I see, she's technically providing them with water and gray water.
Mhm.
Because if she puts in a grease trap and she's already got a meter, but she's paying for all the water anyway, so she can charge them whatever fee she wants.
Do we, now I know we're a place like Round Rock, where that makes sense for a food trailer to be able to say, yeah, I can afford that cost. In our spot, we're trying to generate foot
That's
traffic.
true. That's true.
So maybe in ongoing years, 3-4 years from now, yes, we do a higher fee per trailer for the year. But in this initial spot, because Jennifer's going to have to ask food trailers, one, it's going to be profitable for her, and downstream, it's going to have to be profitable for the food
Yeah.
trailer. And I could definitely see this first year being like another pilot year, where it's an incentive program
You've got something there.
to bring food trailers here. I could see maybe $10 per spot per month, basically. Well, $10. How did I figure that? $10 per spot.
Scott's getting $75 a day that they provide
Everything.
water, electricity, and gray water. So they get $75.
Who does that?
Granary.
The granary,
How much?
$75 now. They get water and electric. But he's in a whole different location too.
We're off the highway. Easy exposure.
So, yeah, 1,200 may be a little steep.
Do you have that?
I mean,
Could we do this as a pilot program? Just mark it as a pilot program that like next year, it will go up
to 1,200 or something.
if this
Oh,
takes
graduate.
off.
8 go to 12.
But let's
I don't
kind of,
think-
let's kind of not try to price ourselves out, because these trailers, they're gonna have to make money, or they're gonna pick up and move on. There's lots of places these food trailers can go.
But part of that falls on the developer too, because we can charge what we want. She can charge what she
If
wants.
she overcharges, I mean, they're gonna have to make so much
Yeah,
money.
that's all on her,
We're charging for the spot.
just for the spot.
We're charging, so the city would be setting a fee for 8 spots, for 8 spots. She could have 63 trailers coming in 1 year for 8 spots if she wanted
Yeah.
to, depending on how, how much.
Yeah.
And then she's charging $20 or $25 every time, for a permit for one of them. She can make bank.
Yeah.
It's all about,
She got the return on her investment.
ain't nobody in business not to make money. I promise. We need to concentrate on setting a fee for the 8 spots that's fair to the
Okay,
city
so
and fair
are
to
you talking about 150
and we,
per spot?
and we don't need to worry about how many trailers she's gonna pull through those 8 spots in 1
Yeah,
year.
I agree.
Okay, but are you talking about 150
Per
per spot?
per year.
That's
Is what
$1,200, which
Okay,
Again, she could totally waive her fee to the,
or she could just charge, like you said, $10. Here's your permit.
Mhm.
Believe me, she won't charge.
How would you have to worry about this? She's gonna look for-
and even if we decide to in the first year to go 800 and say next year it's gonna go to 12 to give her some, I guess a little bit of footage there to get a hold of, but I don't know, I think 1,200 is a lot of money for 8 spots for,
Maybe this is,
well, I think that the developer sees this as an attraction. That personally, I'd say 8 trailers for Bartlett to support is too much.
I could see maybe a
But
three-year.
it's gonna be an attraction is what she's hoping for, I think.
If you did a 3-year program, basically, if you look at a 3-year lens, 400 in the first year, 800 in the second year, 1,200 in the third year. And in that first year, that's 12, 4, 36, 48, basically $30 and some change per month. That's pretty affordable. I mean, that's really for a lot of folks that are doing something like this. But in the next year, it doubles, and then the following year, it's triple.
and then after that, it's just.
So after that, it can be 12,000 or more at that point. But at
and
least
now
you've
we set
got
a
to start.
precedence, because, again, like she said, is this a pilot program just for her, or are we just gonna deal with every individual that comes and wants to do another one somewhere?
Mhm.
Give them the same.
Well, I think it's
deal?
what we do is we put a price tag on spots, and then somebody else comes in and wants to be our 2 spot. Now we got a price tag. Okay, $150 a trailer. Then you want 3 trailers, you got 450, whatever that is. So that way, it's not like 1,200 for her, and then well, we've given this person, they're going to do 8 more trailers, but there's a 600. We got to
Gotta be careful with that.
be careful, got to be fair, got to have a price tag, per spot.
We don't want to complicate it.
Already have. Too late. No, this is simple, and I mean, this is stuff that needs to be talked about to put in the ordinance. Yeah. This is easy.
Okay, well, that gives me plenty of notes. What I will do is I'll work with Rose, and we'll draft up all the draft documents, a draft of what the permit will look like itself, the procedural components, and then we can bring that back for consideration at the September 12th meeting.
Okay, so do we need to make a motion or anything?
You can make a motion to,
I'm gonna make a motion that
For
Rose
September
and Joseph get with the.
well, just for September 12th.
What?
You could say
Oh, in September,
To-
we'd make a motion.
to
I got you. Go ahead.
revisit at the September 12th meeting.
We're going to make a motion for Joseph and Rose and city attorney to draft a MFD
I make a motion for
permit
Rose and Joseph,
until-
city attorney, to draft
to have prepared by this.
to have prepared by September twelfth.
Forget that.
How's that?
We'll
How's that?
bill Jennifer for
I make
her
motion.
and she can bill our people, whatever she wants.
Exactly. That's what.
She wants.
Exactly.
We just bill her.
So Vicky Cooper made a motion to have Mr. Resendez, Ms. Rose, and city attorney to draft a MFE permit to bring back to council for approval on September 12th.
September twelfth.
I'll second that.
Vicky Cooper made a motion, Philip Weaver made a second. All in favor? That carries. All right. Item 2, discuss, review, take any
More
necessary
lights.
action related to updating R2 zoning area regulations.
I'm gonna need to project
Okay.
it for them.
You hear that? Discuss, review, take any necessary action related to updating R2 zoning area regulations.
Okay.
Once again, in your packet, we're discussing in our R2, current R2 zone, there's a requirement in order to build on those properties. There's a lot square footage requirement. And we've had some people bring it to us, that we have lots that are smaller than that square footage.
7,500 square feet.
I think it's required
I'm sorry,
7,500 square feet.
7,500 square feet.
It required 7,500 that are around the 7,000 square feet. They're making some smaller ones in play that people want to build on, but they've come to the city to make sure that they can build on them, because we need to, basically, from what we've figured out, is we need to amend our R2 language here. Correct? Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yes,
We need to amend the R2 language here for the square footage of these vacant lots, so they can build on.
Yes. I believe there was another component really So one of the questions that's come up with this is that a prospective builder and realtor brought to the city the original plats or the original city plan from like the 50s, I believe, and the 1885 and 1956 were the years that they brought. The county appraisal district and asked them the information that's reflected on the county appraisal district maps, what is that derived from? And they said, well, that they coordinate with the county clerk's office based off of the filed plats and the filed deed records and everything, and that's what's reflected on the CAD maps to the best of their ability. I mean, it's not 100%, but pretty solid. The reason that becomes a question is on those original plats from the 1800s and the 1950s, one parcel on the CAD map was originally 12 or multiple different parcels back then. And so the question becomes, what did they build on and so forth. Well, the realtor's concern is that the original plats are too small to qualify to fit the city's current ordinance. But now what we're seeing on CAD maps is now that there's only a small number of properties or smaller number of properties that don't necessarily fit with the current zoning map. So what they're wanting to know and request amendment to our R2 zoning ordinance here that puts in some language, it can be a sentence or two, I think is probably all that's really needed here, is that, if a lot is less than 7,000 square feet, or if it's less than the 7,500 square feet, then I forgot what did we discuss about that?
Then you can build something, but only to fit that lot.
Right.
As long as it meets the back sets and the.
Yeah.
Like that one down the road, that's good.
Full area is less than a certain square footage or a certain size, then the lot area requirement is it would not apply to the 7,500 limit. Something to that effect would would be enough of a blanket statement to cover any parcels under the R2 zone, but yet still enforce enough to ensure setback requirements and a specific standard.
And then that's where they get the square footage of the building.
Yeah, on this particular lot, the question, what's the dimensions? 50 by 140.
15 by 140, wasn't it?
Mhm.
120?
Even after measuring off all the setbacks that this zone requires, even after measuring all the setbacks, you still have enough property left to build a 3,400 square foot single story house. That's huge. So, you know, we're not talking like impossible.
This one right here. So this is Allen Street. Right here. Here's the church. Here's the red school. This property here in question.
Where the trophy shop is.
It's a trophy shop?
Trophy shop.
Oh, okay.
Trophy shop's right here, Mr. Longy. This is the Coopers, and then here's the property here in question.
And that's Front Street?
No, it's Allen.
This is
Allen
Allen.
Street.
No, no,
That's Lucy to the left. That's Dell Street.
Front Street's way lifted.
Actually, that's Fuller Street.
So I think it's just really a language thing we need to change. And
But if you look,
679.
if you look around, you see there's other lots about the same dimensions around.
There's one right
You
here.
know, and obviously you got structure, but you know a lot of them already have structure built on other sheets.
And those three over on Front Street, that's with the trailer houses there.
Mhm.
Look at 119802 Front Street, the second one.
Oh, yeah. That's little.
Shouldn't there be a minimum though?
Currently, there's a minimum of 7,500 square feet
Mhm.
for the lot
Just a
size.
lot.
For the lot size. We're asking to amend the 7,500 square feet. How do we put this in language?
So I guess you would say for lot areas less than a certain, or less than that square footage. For pre-existing lots, less than square footage, there would be a subset of requirements.
That pre-existing big, a very important word. Because without that, you're gonna get somebody taking their lot, splitting it.
And
putting
if
it
that
in.
guy that bought that strip
Make
over
that
there,
motion.
what's that church over there?
I'm sorry?
What's that church over there? That, Mr. Range? Over there was that strip, like, I said, you went on the bit.
The pizza slots.
Oh,
Well, it doesn't matter on that, like, something like that, you can go to that picture of the pizza slots. Pull it up on the map.
The language, because we want to make sure it's existing platted lots where they don't come in some subdivision
Yeah.
and they want to.
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. So if it didn't exist, then that means it's structure on that.
And so keep in mind, while the current property that was the sort of impetus behind this whole deal is in Bell County, the zoning applies citywide. So any amendment to the R2 zoning will change it to all R2 zoned lots. So that's why we want to make sure that it's,
But lot we just looked at, on Allen Street, the setback lines, if you take the setbacks in, 5 feet on each side, and the, so much, what was it, so much percentage on the back, so much percentage on the
It
front.
was 28
What
in the
size
back
is that
and
lot right there?
25 in the front.
What size is that?
this is, can't
It's
remember.
50 by 140. I think.
Oh, yeah, I mean, they have it in. Not scrolling. Not scrolling.
There's a Bell County. I think that's the-
But measuring the setbacks on this one, plenty of room, like I said, to build a 3,400 square foot house legally, you know?
Yeah.
It's just,
50 by 140, pretty much, the land
So
area.
you don't have the 75, but you
It's
get
a
some.
narrow house.
It's
It was-
deeper
it was
than-
7,000.
Still 40 feet wide.
it'd be
Yeah.
40 feet wide, the house would be 40 feet wide, which,
It was 5 feet, you said?
Yeah, now 2-story, it went to 10-foot back there, wasn't it?
yes, yeah, on the sides.
Yeah.
So if you go 2 levels, then you come in property, which would make this where it's only a 30-foot wide house. This, I believe, would we count off of the day foot, 42 feet? This room,
This is about 40 feet wide.
so this is, I mean, the
Not
house
quite
would be this
40.
wide.
This
Good
is
size,
Yeah.
and even longer, you know, because I think this is 2,800 square feet.
So I just think it's really just adjusting the language.
Pre-existing.
But you can go to the pizza slice, and that's a good description on, it has to follow setback rules, no matter where the lot is.
Yeah.
To go to the pizza slice, and you follow setback rules for the pizza slice, you don't have enough room
Does
to
7,500 square feet even need to be in there? Can it just be follow the setback rules?
Yeah.
I think it might be there for a reason for that, where somebody doesn't buy
Like that sliver down there.
that block of land right there, that whole block, you know, from Lucy to
Yeah,
Emma,
and sliver
and
it
build 37 houses. You know, they're gonna just get it in there, just,
Oh, I got you.
you know what I'm saying?
I got you. So we don't necessarily want to have any more little bitty lots coming down.
pre-existing ones in there.
Because, yeah, you know, we have a developer who's gonna be in the R2 zone. We want his,
Have a minimum lot area.
they're going to want to get as many pieces,
Yeah.
lots on,
Yeah.
you know, parts of land, but
So we have some lots that are smaller than that 50 by 142, don't we?
can you go to that one that's right over here on,
Like that one right there,
I think
17.
it's that one.
Yeah.
That's where a guy is.
So that's,
I mean, it's like 0 lot line on it.
so in that scenario,
It's existing, I mean, we can't go make them pick up their house and move.
So really, the language just needs to say existing platted lots in the city still need to meet the back sets, whatever house you can fit on.
On, 140. Same thing.
Is that what that one is?
See the measurement here on the,
let's see right there,
Yeah, that we
75 by 130 is what it says.
Somebody cut a lot in half.
yeah, they own that 92218 property next door.
So case in point then right there, that someone subdivided a lot to try and do that.
By that 25.
Mhm.
Property line, you got to the middle line. Is that an easement?
Okay, so then what we'll do is our city attorney's office, they have a well-versed development attorney, and that will probably have a lot of experience with something like this. So I've got my notes on it, and same concept as the previous agenda item. We can work on it and get it on September 12th.
Does that make sense to you guys? Does that make sense to you all?
Yeah, I just, but you can't do anything about that lockdown, but you need to make sure we're.
Moving
adjusting
forward.
Going forward, yeah. But see, I think that guy there's Kingo sold you and cleans up the rest right there. So I don't know how you got that little piece of
What street
land.
is that on, Joseph?
That is Front Street, northeast front or northwest front.
Yeah, so it's really good now. Is that where you're free and all that place now?
See that little building that used to be, where the grocery store.
And so this is also a conversation too, to kind of wrap it up and round it out. The whole infill development philosophy that we talked about, we have a lot of vacant lots in town, and some of them may not necessarily be able to meet the current zoning requirements. So by having language in there that we're talking about will help spur development of these vacant. You had that just a second ago where it was vacant. There's nothing on it right now. The developer wants to build something on it. So that's a new improvement that is not subject to the tax rate limitation. So that's a good first year pump in the arm for the city and property tax. And now you're talking about utility revenues as well, recurring utility revenues, more foot traffic, so forth, so forth. So
But then, that way, the mayor said, you don't want to put 37 houses.
right. So we want people to come here. We want them to develop these lots, but to a standard. To a standard.
I'll make a motion to get with the attorney, have him draw it up, we can vote on it next week.
And the minimum is to get the
I'll second that motion.
You were
Mr. Bill.
Mr. Fisher made a motion. TW.
Yeah, I can say the motion for you. That way you're cleaner.
Yeah, you said motion. Would y'all like some candy?
Okay.
I think Gail couldn't see.
Oh yeah.
You first, huh?
So the motion on the table is Mayor Pro Tem Weaver makes a motion for city staff to coordinate with city attorney to draft R2 zoning area regulations amendment for placement on the September 12th city council meeting.
Got it.
Who said?
I'll second.
He did the first motion, she did the second. All in favor? Okay, 4-0. Moving on.
Yeah.
Item 3, discuss, review, take any necessary action related to variance request for Williamson County parcel ID R007706 A05 West Elm Avenue related to R2 zoning area regulation.
So this is council will be very familiar with this lot by now. Yes, sir. So the initial variance that we've discussed in the past is a zoning variance. Now the applicant, the property owner, is requesting a variance to the area regulations. So basically the setback requirements for this lot. Now he does have a single family home that he's looking to place on this lot, and we've looked at it. We verified, and he's going to fix it up a little bit based off the pictures, but
There's an existing one?
it's an existing. They're going to pick it up and move it here. Some of the items under consideration to help this gentleman. The Elm Street, so his front door would face Elm Street. There's a utility pole right here, and here. And it's a dead end pole, so the only thing on here is a street light, which I think it works. But we can remove that, put a street light here, and that would free up some overhead space for this gentleman to use. Part of this variance request is typically the setbacks are from the edge of the property line. But since it's pretty unique in that there's a street right here, any variance granted could specify that it needs to be setbacks relative to the edge of the right of way. So it needs to be a certain footage away from the street at all points, wherever that is.
What is it between them? How many feet is it?
Oh,
Well, you see here on it's 140.75 feet long this way, north and south, but east to west, you're looking at 73 feet.
it's 71 feet across.
Oh, never mind, let me just, ordinance, so where's the footage?
71.5. Right And if you basically take off what approximates to a third, that would be 66 feet.
So let's stick up, just, it's R2 zone.
Excuse me.
Right.
Something that's out across the street, we just cleared our village. Two birds, one stone.
Oh yeah, that's true, because this is R2.
Like Birdman.
Yep, exactly what you do.
Well, also, part of the
Two for
issue
one.
there is that, part of the issue there is that he wants to put his fence right on the street.
Yes.
So we need, that's where we need to, there's an ordinance somewhere that says we have from Center Street back so many feet. I want to say it's 15 feet from Center Street.
That's what I thought it was.
The 15 from Center Street, Chief Hope might know where this ordinance is. So it's a percentage from Center Street back is the east, is the
Right away.
right away. So we need to figure that out. I don't know why I didn't think about this whole thing. I'm just looking at the map. But yeah, you're right. We need to go to the Center Street of Kimball Street, follow it, the center of the street. We take the string over there and we paint on and then that's where his property line setback was measured for his house. The problem with that house was the front door was going to be facing Kimball Street, which would not give him near enough setbacks from front yard, backyard. Remember this? So that's why we said he would have to either face the house towards Elm Street, or that's where the variance comes in.
So then we'll find the ordinance for the 15 foot from center right away.
Does that make any sense?
Yep,
Mhm.
it does.
You want me to do my little diagram?
No, I got you. We'll go ahead.
Front door of the house right here, fellas.
Yeah.
So
Is that the scale?
it is. So the front door is here, the setback from the right of way,
It's gotta be 25
it's gotta
feet.
be 25, there's 20%.
25, wasn't it?
Front yard.
It is, wasn't it?
A percentage. I think it's percentage of both.
Yeah.
20%.
It ended up being 25 feet on that 140-foot lot.
Yeah, so you have to have, and then the size of the yard is only 5 feet. But, so since this is the front door and we never run up, you have to switch it.
That solves the problem right there.
Or we give them a variance. Set here. Because we're giving a special variance because you have to have a.
So then, sounds like the most efficient way to get through this is front door facing Elm Street. Front door facing Elm Street. Also assume that we can locate the ordinance language for the 15 feet from right of way center. And we can delineate that on the property. It says from that point to the edge of your property, and as long as it's facing Elm Street, you're good. And then we'll solve the area requirement. Zoning,
So we're gonna do away with the electrical easement through there?
We can look at it.
Just remove the
I would hate to sit here right here and say, without being over there looking at it, saying yes. Because we know the house across the street is right up on the street also. About where that property line is, to be honest with you. And obviously, we can't pick that house up and move it, it's existing. But if you kill the street light across Elm Street, then yes, you can remove back so far. Like in the middle of the property right there is another pole, but at the edge of the property back here, Joseph, is another pole. If we get that across the street,
The intermediate.
You open that up,
Supporting the
you can
wire
open
from
it
the
up.
transformer to that house.
what's that?
That intermediate pole was only supporting the wire from the transformer on that pole back here in the back.
Yeah, because this is four lots.
There's a pole back here.
Coming down here, there's a pole back here, so
Measure the transformer.
here. But if we need to move this across the street, other side of the street, you have this, as much of this property back as possible. I mean,
It's just
we want to
over
work with it out.
Yeah, we need to work with him.
We need to work.
But it still wouldn't be his. The road?
Oh, no, it wouldn't. The road
The
would not
road's
be.
not good. But we need to, we can see, we can definitely try out, because I believe the water lines, they said, are actually running in the center of the street. But the electric is what we're talking about, the dash line, the little dots, electric line. And that's what we can see about relocating across the street or killing it in dead end. And if we need to, it does feed Derek's house. So we need to get it across the street to Derek's house somehow, we need to get more. So if we relocate this, then we're giving him some property back, but we still need to maintain street easement.
The center of the road out.
You know, at least 5 feet from edge of road back on his property, you know, somewhere around there. Because, you know, if 2 cars are coming, they gotta have somewhere to go. You know, if the buses come around the corner, bigger, and, you know, gotta maintain a little bit.
Where's the sewer line running through out there?
Get started with that. It's on top of the ground over here.
You don't want to build a house on top of it.
There's a manhole right there somewhere, it's about 5 feet deep, kind of down to the corner of the lot.
Check it. That's leaky. Yeah, we need to, that guy's been sitting a long time.
I think we work with it. It would be good that the council, a good gesture on the council part of it.
So we need to make a motion on that?
It can be receive update at the next meeting, because if we're already working on the R2 area amendment, that would satisfy on the, provide the update on the 15-foot from center right away, and then also stipulating that his front door needs to be facing Elm Street. So that way he still complies with the north and south.
Or that's where you give them the variance. That's where the variance language would come in. That's special situation.
Once it goes down,
Zach told us that a variance is for setbacks.
So that would be good, because you know, if there wasn't a damn street running through the yard,
Yeah.
they'd have plenty of room to put whatever he wants to go with.
It's just maybe the street.
So is a variance the right thing to do there, in y'all's opinion?
It's the only time I do a variance.
Yeah. Let me pick one out for you.
Don't come see me.
oh, he took it.
Another,
I think this is a very good fitting property for variance.
I agree.
Does he still have a problem with some other day?
Supposedly.
You know, they don't straighten that out, look about it.
I hope not. You know, it very well could be, but I hope it doesn't get to that point.
That's really between him and the police.
yeah, please.
Until somebody gets killed.
Which one's that? Which one do you have right there?
That was a
What
Kit
color
Kat.
is that?
That was a Kit
Toffee.
Kat.
Oh, it's toffee. Is there anything with like a peanut or something in
Tell
there?
that, Jim.
No,
Mhm.
so we just need basically,
Orange cream caramel swirl is caramel swirl.
So we're gonna
There is
find out
no
Make a
the
decision tonight.
right of way dimension,
Or his-
coffee.
discuss getting rid of the wire, relocating the pole, and giving him a variance.
Purple.
Have them face the house.
It's just moving one pole down.
so that's the direction that Joseph and I have
Are you-
between now and the
Boom.
next meeting, then we'll receive an update at the next meeting.
Good job.
Okay, so we'll-
Oh, you gotta pay attention.
We
I'll
are.
get my chocolate.
I can get it out of my teeth. Yeah.
Philip, was that a motion? I believe Philip made a motion.
Okay. And what was the motion?
Keeping those to be good.
To have us, figure out right away, Center Street right away clearance. If possible to relocate electric line and for setbacks and have an update or consider for, action at this September 12th meeting.
How about that from the park
Who made
center,
that
it
motion?
has to face out.
PW.
Do we all need to get in the car and go over after me?
Or I'll make a motion.
Yeah, you're welcome to, if we want to do like an on-site, look at it. Let's all get together and meet over there one afternoon.
I'll second this motion.
It was right away requirements.
We're gonna have him with us when we do that.
He could be there if you wanted to.
So right away clearance, utility relocation, and variance setback variance. Anything else? Update. Consideration for approval at next week.
I'll read that back. That purple one's pretty good. There's actually a little hazelnut in it. Mayor Pro Tem Weaver makes a motion for city staff to verify right-of-way clearance requirements, utility relocation, and possible setback variance for placement on the September 12th city council meeting.
We got some work to do, little buddy.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
No, it sounds like I need another one.
All right, moving on. Item 4, discuss, review, taking necessary action related to the holding record.
Related to holding record.
vote. Holding record vote for fiscal year 2023 proposed tax.
Yes, sir.
Okay. That's where I have to call them all individually
Yes, there will be a roll call vote.
today.
But that, well, hold on. So the in your agenda packet, there is the 2022 tax rate calculation worksheet. Now, this has been completed and signed by the county appraiser's office. So this comes directly from them. They calculate our official rates. And all the way at the very, very second to last page of your agenda packet, you'll see it's at section 8, total tax rate, and there are 3 numbers to the right there, and the signature of the verifying official at the bottom. But the 3 rates that you see, the very first one is the no new revenue tax rate, that is 0.5667. The second is the voter approval tax rate, 0.5549, and the de minimis rate, 1.0187. What we've discussed previously in budget workshops was the voter approval tax rate. That is where council can increase the tax levy by 3.5% on existing property values without any petition, no vote, nothing. Council adopts the voter approval tax rate up to 3.5%, then no problem there. Anything
Even
exceeding.
other times, we would have to have.
Yes, sir. Exactly. So what we're doing here today is basically setting the tax rate not to exceed. So city staff, I would recommend that we go with a voter approval tax rate. And
5549.
and if council decides when we actually set the proposed tax rate after the tax rate hearing and so forth, if you decided to set it at 0.449, you could do that. You can go all the way up to the 5549, but you cannot exceed the 5549. So all we need last year, let me double check here. We just need a motion to set the proposed tax rate for what staff would recommend, the voter approval rate, but of course that is up to council to make that determination. Yes.
Mr. Jones,
Tax
makes a
rate
motion.
5549.
It's a motion. Fiscal year 2023 proposed.
Want me to go and sign?
I'll second.
Philip Weaver seconds. Okay, so we have a motion and a second on the table, and now we need roll call vote. Mr. Weaver, how do you vote on this?
I vote yay.
Yay. Ms. Cooper, how do you
Yay.
vote on this?
Yes.
Yay. Uson, how do you vote? Yay. Mr. Jones, how do you?
Yay.
And another yay. Gotcha. With a Jesse Luna absent. Motion carries 4-0. That is for voter approval up to 0.5549.
Roll call vote, all A's, Councilmember Luna A. President did not vote. Due to no time. Looks good. Oh, so motion passes. 4-0. And,
Moving on, item number 5, discuss, review, take any necessary action related to setting time and date for fiscal year 2023 budget hearing.
Sir. The very last page of your agenda packet has the fiscal calendar, and it's just a summary of all of our budget-related dates so far. Wednesday, May 25th, we had our City Council Strategic Planning Workshop. Thursday, June 23rd, we had our first budget workshop. On the Monday, July 11th, regular council meeting, we set the times and dates for budget workshop 2. We received our certified property values back from both counties. We had our 2-day workshop on Thursday, the 28th, and Friday, the 29th of July. Monday, August 8th, we set a time and date for the 3rd and final budget workshop. That was held on August 18th. Now, today, we've submitted the no new revenue voter approval and de minimis rates to council. That's what we just reviewed. We just had the record vote approving the proposed tax rate, i.e. tax rate not to exceed. Now we are setting a time and date for the fiscal year 23 budget hearing and budget adoption, and setting a time and date for the, which is the next agenda item, for the tax rate hearing and the tax rate adoption for September 12th. Our next regular council meeting is Monday, September law. The budget has to be adopted before the tax rate is adopted. At the conclusion of each hearings, council may make a motion related to each item. So at the conclusion of the budget hearing, council may make a motion to adopt the budget at that time. At the conclusion of the tax rate hearing, council can make a motion to adopt the tax rate at that time. And you'll see on the agenda, so when we schedule the time and date, if our regular council meeting starts at 7, we can set the hearing. We can set it earlier.
And so this is the one with the citizens count.
Right. They would come. So I would recommend we could do the first. We could call the meeting to order on September 12th and immediately go to the hearings after citizens communication. And so if we set that for 7:05 or 7:10, I think that'd be sufficient. Based off last year, the hearing was, nobody showed up basically, so it was really quick. So if we set the budget hearing for say 7, probably set the tax rate hearing for 7:20 for the sake of giving a little extra time.
So we'll call a meeting order at 7. Do all our citizens communication, pledge, prayer, blah, blah, blah. Then we'll get into the 7:10-ish. Can't do this agenda item before 7:10 if that's when we post it. You can do it after. You can do it at 7:15, 7:20, 7 whatever. You just can't do it before 7:10. So we set this one at 7:10, and then we set the next agenda item is the tax rate hearing. We can circle back to that in a minute. Or we can say something.
Perfect. So for agenda item 5, just need a motion to set the time and date for the fiscal year 23 budget hearing for September 12th at a specified time.
I'll make a motion to set the time and date for 2023 budget hearing to begin at 7:10 on September 12th.
7:10.
So that was Vicky Cooper made a motion for, to set the, budget hearing at our next regular city council meeting at, on September 12th, 2022 at 7:10 PM.
Just need a second.
Second. Gail Jones, a second. All in favor? Carries 4-0. Item number 6, the second half of that. Discuss, review, take any necessary action related to setting time and date for fiscal year 2023 tax rate period. So we just discussed that. Has to be after the 7:10 budget hearing.
I'll make a motion, we set the 2023 tax rate hearing for 7:20 PM on September 12th.
Cooper's made a motion for the tax rate hearing for 7:20 PM on September 22nd.
Second.
Philip Weaver has seconded that. All in favor? Motion carries 4-0. All right. Next meeting, you guys, would be September 12th, 7 PM. Executive session. Any future agenda items?
No,
Obviously, these two items.
and the other items.
All these other
discussed.
items.
Make a motion, we adjourn.
We need a second. We can do a second. We don't need the vote. We just need a second.
Oh, that hurt my arm.
Yeah.
Ms. Cooper's made a motion to adjourn. Ray Thomas seconded. And we'll call a meeting at 7:20 PM.
So, I'm sorry, 7:20?
7:20.
We were a young kid.
No, I kind of have my share of it, I'm thinking. More than my share.
Let's go home, folks.
Oh, Lord, you're gonna be here for 42 minutes, signing up.
So, I guess the only thing we're waiting for is Jesse. He can come in anytime, really.
See, there's that says orange.
Did you bring it back?
No, it's all.
It's all right. I will send you the invoice. We'll just withhold your mayor check.
3 months.